Okay, welcome everyone. This is a webinar from the Council of New Jersey Grantmakers on the update of the first year of the Camden Food Innovation Fund. We are pleased to welcome a wide variety of speakers that are involved with this project, and it's going to be moderated by Sydney Hargrove, who is the Executive Director of the Community Foundation of South Jersey. Welcome all, and I turn it over to Sydney to get started. Thank you very much.
Will do. Thank you, Craig, and thank you all for taking time out of your, I'm sure, busy morning to engage with us regarding an update for the Camden Food Innovation Fund. The webinar is scheduled for 1 hour, so we should be able to give you a broad perspective of our first year and broad understanding of our first year, and have time for questions at the end. The agenda you have there before you, I won't read through it, but we want to just kind of to kick it off with an overview of last year. So last year, I think some of you, many of you may realize, actually it was a couple of years ago, Campbell Soup Healthy Communities Program, Community Foundation of South Jersey, and Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission had collaborated to look into submitting a proposal to the Convergence Partnership. That was a more scaled up version of what we're doing now, where we wanted to look at ways to improve food access in Camden City with some other elements of local economic development also included. And once that grant period, that the proposal there obviously was not funded, we decided at that time that what we would do is we'd scale it down and then seek to implement our plans. And so that was led us to 2015, where we started to do that. One of the things that was really important to us early on was to really have a very fluid process. So even though the project's called the Camden Food Innovation Fund, we wanted to make sure that we had, gave partners the flexibility to participate in several different ways, and to really carry out a co-investment philosophy versus simply pooling and putting money in a fund and distributing. The idea was if we could get as many partners involved, beginning, middle, and end, that there will be opportunities throughout the process for potential funding partners to opt in and participate. We engaged prospective investment and selection partners with that process. So there were some partners, some of them are actually on the call, that participated on the selection committee, and then there were some that participated in actually providing resources for the ultimate grants that we were making. And then some did both, obviously. The ultimate investment, although I think when we started the process last year, might have been somewhere around, I think it was right around $40,000 or $45,000. Ultimately, by the time we were ready to make the investment, $80,000 were granted into three projects that you'll hear about in a few minutes. And then obviously there was, mid-year formal site visit, and then we just received the final reports from those projects, which will find a way to also talk about some of those results as well during the call. Wrong way. Okay. So at this time, I want to have Kim Fortunato of Campbell Soup Healthy Communities Program to give us an overview of the investments that were made.
Great. Thank you, Sydney. We had a really great pool of applicants and proposals from which to choose. So it wasn't an easy process, and we're really grateful to have so many other of our funders involved in that RFP process and review process. We finally settled on 3 grantees who you see in front of you. And I'm not going to go too much into the Cathedral Kitchen program because we do have Karen Talerico, the CEO of Cathedral Kitchen, on the phone with us who will certainly provide further information. But we were very intentional about scaling up a program that already existed with success. It's a social enterprise program for the kitchen, providing meals as a caterer to our Volunteers of America facilities. So that grant was specifically to take that program to scale. And you'll hear more about that from Karen. And if you haven't yet been to CK Cafe, the new cafe that Cathedral Kitchen opened in the spring, this is a hearty plug for it, open Tuesday through Friday for lunch. And Karen will share more with that too. It's my lunch spot now, my go-to lunch spot in Camden. The Food Trust Food Bucks project is a couponing program in our corner stores in Camden. I think it's the first couponing program in corner stores in the country. If not the first, then it's the second. There's something going on in Boston. It's been enormously successful. I say that because I'm a funder of it, independent of this funding as well, but this was the funding that kicked it off. And this will go to scale in other communities, I can assure you. I think the redemption has been over 90%. And again, we have Ana Ramos from the Food Trust on, and you'll hear more about that from her. But that's been an enormously successful program that has also incented a lot of participation at the corner stores as word spreads that the Heart Bucks program is going on at that particular corner store. And then finally, the Parkside PBCIP, Parkside Business and Community Partnership, created a learning garden in a park in the Parkside area of Camden City, and our investment supported the creation of that park. And the intention is to bring in other partners, including Rutgers, to do nutrition education programming at that park and in the garden. I understand that the garden has had lots of use from community members. So expanding the reach of our community, we have a fairly robust community garden system in Camden City, and this certainly expanded the intentionality around that system. So those are the 3 investments we made in year 1, and certainly happy during Q&A to answer further questions about any of them.
Great. Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
So now, was there a question? Okay. So now we want to hear from, brief stories from 2 of the 3 programs that were supported with the fund last year. And for the Food Trust, we have Ana Ramos, who's up first for us. Ana?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar. So we at the Food Trust we receive funding through the Campbell's Healthy Communities Initiative to work with corner stores in Camden with our Camden Healthy Corner Store Network. We have a network currently of 40 stores enrolled and 1 concession stand. And we have a team of folks that go out to stores and recruit stores to our Healthy Corner Store network, but also we have another team that goes out and provides nutrition education lessons in corner stores. And we've been doing that in Camden for the last 4 years. And last year, due to the funding from the Community Foundation of South Jersey, we were able to launch a program called Heart Bucks. That's what we call the Food Bucks Incentive Program. And I'm actually here with my colleague, Nissa Entrikin, who was out in the stores providing nutrition education lessons. So we worked with 10 of our 39 stores last year to pilot this Heart Bucks program. And the way that it worked was that each participant that completed a nutrition education lesson received 4 $1 Heart Bucks coupons to purchase heart healthy items. So we had staff in the store providing the nutrition education lesson, and then we had staff serving as a shopping tour guide that would walk the customers around the store and identify the heart-healthy items available to them. And, that included things from fresh fruits and vegetables to whole grains, canned items, eggs, low-fat dairy products. And like Kim said earlier, we had a 90% redemption rate. We had store owners that said that they increased their sales of fresh fruits and vegetables by 80% because customers were going in and trying new foods with the Heartbucks, and then they came back and they continued to make the healthy purchases. So it was super, super successful for us. We were also able to leverage funds from the New Jersey statewide Healthy Corner Store network. Because the Heartbucks were so successful, we actually ran out last year, so we were able to get an additional $3,000 to continue the Heartbucks, and we were just so excited for this pilot program last year, and we received word from the Campbell's Healthy Communities Initiative that we will actually be able to continue Heartbucks next year.
Yeah, and this is Nissa. I just want to add one thing. We actually worked with 3 schools in the area and brought HYPE leadership teams into the corner stores where they would do a scavenger hunt in the store to find healthy food, and everyone would get a bottle of water and a piece of fruit, and then they went back and presented to their schools about the healthy options in the local corner stores.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that, the results story. Anna, next up we'll have, and remember we will have time also for questions at the end, or even throughout if questions pop up. Next up we will have Karen Talerico from the Cathedral Kitchen. Karen?
Yes, good morning everyone. Thanks for having me this morning. So our grant for $30,000 that we received from the initiative last year was earmarked to fund the hiring of 2 chefs for our scale-up of our contract meals program. We had been doing contract meals for Volunteers of America for about 2 years on a sort of an ever-increasing scale, but we had gotten to the point where the capacity in our current kitchen was limited. So we undertook a capital project to renovate the building next door and create another production kitchen over there. And so we were concurrently running a capital campaign and also trying to find the funding to staff the initiative, so this grant was very helpful for the latter. We were able to hire 2 chefs. One was a chef manager who is managing food production in the kitchen, and the second was an experienced chef who is doing kitchen operations, and so she's handling all the food orders, the inventory, the relationship with the clients, the trucks and the drivers, and those kinds of things. We initiated the new service to Volunteers of America on December 1st last year. So we went from doing about 200 meals a day for them on Sunday to 1,600 meals a day for them on Monday. We deliver to 7 different locations. 1 location picks up, and we do it 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we're preparing approximately 550 breakfast, lunch, and dinners each day in our kitchen, and that includes special meals, as we call them, for special diets, diabetic, low salt, vegan, whatever. So we're able to handle all of those food requests. In order to get the kitchen staffed, we hired 12 graduates of our culinary arts training program and 2 Camden residents, which we were really happy about. Our kitchen opens every day at 4 in the morning and closes at 7 at night, and our clients have been very happy with the food service and have already expressed their desire to renew the contract with us for next year. And we have been approached by others about taking on another contract. We're seriously negotiating with someone to do 100 meals a day at a location in Cherry Hill. Some of the unexpected benefits of this ramp up for us were having trucks available to us has been huge because it has enabled us to pick up larger food donations, which we not only use in our program here in our dining room where we serve people every day and also in the contract meal program, but it's so much food sometimes that we've started to develop other ways of getting the food out into the community. So for instance, now every Tuesday morning we do a delivery to Riverview Towers, which is the senior citizen complex here in Camden. And I was laughing this morning because my delivery man came in and he said he got calls from the residents, why weren't we there this morning? And the reason was because we had to push everything back a day because deliveries were late due to the Pope's visit. So people are really loving getting the extra food down at the senior center. And these are people, a lot of them, who really don't leave that facility because they're using walkers or wheelchairs or things like that. And we've also developed relationships with Urban Promise. They're right up the street from us, and we're doing meals for their food pantry families, and we're also doing meals for their after-school programs. We're going to start doing those once a week. So it's actually led us to think about getting yet another truck so that we have a dedicated truck and then hiring a person who does nothing but picks up the food and then delivers it for us. So those are just some of the things that we've been able to do since we've gone through this process to really scale up our operations here.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
We actually have a few minutes if we can take one or two questions for either Anna or Karen. Any questions from the group?
This is Lois. Karen, has it proven to actually be profitable yet?
Yes.
For you?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, it has. We were just running numbers yesterday, and it has been profitable for us. Maybe not as profitable as we hoped, but it's definitely been profitable.
But it's not costing you, so that's better.
No, absolutely not costing us. And in fact, the revenue from that is right now it's supporting the operations of the cafe in the front of the building because we opened the cafe later, and to get a restaurant started is a completely different, model. And so.
Great. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions? All right. Well, that was a perfect segue, Lois. We're going to have Lois Greco speak to us from a partner's perspective, just to give her thoughts about participating in the process and ultimately also being a part of the investment in these projects.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so this investment actually comes from the Wells Fargo Regional Community Development Corporation, which is a sister to the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation, staffed by the same people, and we have the same board. But the investment of the CDC is actually to support social enterprise and to support further leverage investments that the foundation is making, typically through either through a program-related investment or having some form of social and economic benefit to the foundation, to the CDC. I'm sorry. We had an investment need because we also have a 5% payout requirement, and so we found ourselves last year with a need to get some money out the door fairly quickly. So that was one reason why we chose to co-invest through a grant to the Food Innovation Fund. However, it was not alone. It met a lot of different criteria for us. It met part of what we are trying to, it definitely supported community and economic development, which is a requirement that we have. But we're really trying to foster co-investment among other funders, trying to make the field more attractive for people to come in and perhaps if they haven't funded in community and economic development before, make it easier, show them the benefits of it, et cetera. So this was a great opportunity to meet, my funding needs and that further dissemination and collaboration among funders. And clearly this investment did do that for us. We also are very interested in the city of Camden. Personally, I'm very interested in the city of Camden, and that's fairly well known that we are a leading foundation in the city of Camden. And my bet, which came to fruition, was that at least one, if not two, of these projects that we were going to choose in this process were going to further leverage investments that we've made in the city of Camden and neighborhoods. And that clearly came true. Cathedral Kitchen sits in East Camden. Urban Promise is one of my grantees. So it is a very good fit in that respect. And Parkside Business and Community and Partnerships is indeed one of our grantees. The garden fits in the neighborhood, and I've been out to see it. So, and I'm sure that the food trust is benefiting residents that are living in the neighborhoods that we are funding in. So that bet came to fruition for us, and we were really pleased with that opportunity. But I also want to speak, I think, the opportunity that we had in the decision-making process really, I thought, was a great moment. I had actually two of my interns last year participated from start to finish. Their first day, I gave them a stack of proposals, and I said, read it because we're going tomorrow to a meeting. And they did. They read it cover to cover, highlighted everything under the sun, and participated in the vetting of decisions. And it was such a lovely experience. Other funders on the phone may relate. Sometimes our processes take forever and a day to get from application to money out the door. This was a much shorter process. You know, we literally read through proposals, made decisions pretty quickly, and then got the money out the door. So it was really a good process in that respect. But I think the dialogue that we had among I want to say there were 6 or 7 funders that ultimately participated, was really a good dialogue in thinking through how the other person was thinking about their vetting process and their scoring process. And I thought Sydney had a fabulous process around scoring that is one that I'm trying to replicate in some of my small grants programs because I thought it was really well done. So I just think all in all it was a great experience for us. And so I sent the check last week, another $10,000 going out to invest in this year's pool.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Lois. It was obviously, great having you in the process during the selection as well. And we're running a little ahead of schedule, so I'll invite there are a few other members of the selection committee that are on the phone. If you have any comments or questions that you'd like to, or comments you'd like to add, you can do so at this time. I won't call you out, but.
Hi, everyone. This is Kim again, and I would just echo Lois's comments and thank you for upping your investment again this year. We have done the same. We've put $20,000 into the fund for this year. And I would just be really curious, and Craig, maybe you know the answer to this, if there are other groups, either in the state or anyone who you know doing similar work around, like we're doing around impact investing specific to food access as a group of funders. I like to think of it as collective impact among the funder community too, which makes me happy as we all look at issues and try to coordinate our funding efforts around specific issues. So just really more curious, more question than.
With access to, or with collective impact in terms of food access, I am not aware of anybody else in the state doing this yet. But I think this is a very good template, and Sydney, I'd be very curious if it's possible for you to share the scoring metrics that you had, that we could share with the rest of the membership, that they could use that. I do see and hear of some other small initiatives around. The one that I'm most familiar with is a group in Patterson that are meeting in November to talk about how they can do some sort of, let's say, collaboration or collective impact, especially around capacity building for some of the nonprofits there in Patterson. As you know, it can be a little tricky to do something like this, but it does seem like this model that you guys have going is fairly easy for someone to come in and take a part of. So I think this is a great example of what funders can do around a singular issue, and do, as Sydney said, not pooled funding, but co-investment. I kind of like that terminology.
Yeah, I think that honestly, I think that was a key to, certainly from a process standpoint, the flow of this of the Camden Food Innovation Fund, and we were pretty clear early on that we wanted to be nimble and fluid enough to allow opportunity to opt in at any point during the process, and then also that our partners, whether they participate in the selection process or investment, or even helping us identify great projects to make sure that we have a good pool to select from. There are a variety of different ways that we, and we will do the same as you'll see in a few minutes, go into the second year, is to make sure there are different points where, partners can opt in to participate. And that I think having it that open really made it successful, and it also, it moved away from the notion of just, like I said, pooling and making an investment. So, great. So with that, we will move on to talking about the plan for 2016, and I don't think there's much going to be that will be different. We are in the process of working through the RFP and just making some, having some discussions about is there anything that we will do differently. But for the most part, I think, last year there were 4 categories that we had available, for potential projects to fall into, and certainly recognized in the RFP. One was related to, identifying or addressing policy reforms that increase access, researching the feasibility to increase access, especially as it relates to also creating jobs. And that, you'll see the economic aspect of this popping up throughout. I mean, I think we have major discussions about making sure that this is also an opportunity for jobs to be created, and so that was a part of it. But also looking at the opportunity to create pilots for new approaches, or even the scaling up as is what was with the cathedral kitchen of existing ideas. And so those elements will be in the RFP this year as well. We will also continue to have several points of where partners can participate. The major areas are in investment and or selection of partners. And I think, we wanted to make sure that the selection process was a learning opportunity. And so that's why the rubric, the scoring, all of that was set up to invite the opportunity to learn it throughout the process and not just through the grants. The plan at this point is to release the RFP on or around December 14th of this year, and then to make investments in sometime in March of 2016. The investment goal, which we hope, like last year, we will surpass it, is currently right around $75,000. I believe we've identified somewhere in the neighborhood of $55,000 at this point. And again, with the opportunity for partners to opt in throughout the process. So with that, I'm going to turn over the remaining portion of the webinar over to Amy from Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission, who will help us discuss the call for participation.
Great. Thanks so much, Sydney. As Sydney said, we are now inviting you to join us to be part of the Camden Food Innovation Grant Fund. either in a number of ways. One as an investment partner, also as a selection partner, as Lois spoke earlier, be a part of the grant review process and help us to select the projects that ultimately get funded. And then 3, just spreading the word, helping us to get the word out about this fund, helping us to let other funders know what we're trying to do, as well as other organizations that could apply for this grant. So yeah, I think if you are interested in participating, we'd ask that you reach out to Sydney to get in touch with him about other ways to get involved. And yeah, I think that is it for us now. I think we want to move on to some Q&A if anybody has any questions.
This is Craig from Council of New Jersey Grantmakers. Are there any kind of restrictions as to who can participate, either geographically or type of funder or anything like that?
Sydney, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, no, we don't have any restrictions at all that I know of. I think that currently the Food Innovation Fund is focused in Camden City, so anyone who has interest in either food broadly and just simply wants to participate from that perspective, or certainly those that invest in Camden related to food access, invited to participate. But I think that the opportunity, like I said, the way it's designed so that it's a learning opportunity as well, even if there's a funding partner who currently does not, make investments in Camden, but maybe they're interested in food in general, we're open to participation. So no, I wouldn't say that there's any restriction.
Is there any kind of minimum amount that they need to contribute to be a part?
We have not set a minimum.
Okay. And I'll do one other plug before anybody else. I'm sorry, I just wanted to comment how good it is to see that you guys are looking at policy and how that affects everything. There's obviously we at CNJG were very concerned with keeping an eye out on policy issues that affect both the funding community and then the nonprofit sector, usually through our partnership with the Center for Nonprofits. So kudos to you guys for thinking of that and including that in part of the partnership. That's wonderful.
Hi, this is Wendy.
Yes, go ahead, Wendy.
Hi. I just had a question. I started writing down what the 4 categories were last year. Can you repeat those? I have policy reforms, pilot for new approaches. Are they 2 of them?
There's policy, research. I think, there's a slide with it on there. There was a pilot, kind of an innovative approach, and then one that kind of combines those.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. I say also, Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission is going to release a Camden Food Economy Strategy that was a co-investment between the Campbell's Healthy Communities Initiative and DVRPC, and we're releasing that this December, hopefully in coordination with the release of the RFP, and we're hoping that the Food Innovation Strategy, Food Economy Strategy, it has a number of recommendations, and hopefully that will help to inspire some grant applications as well, that those grant applications can align with some of the recommendations that are going to be in the Food Economy Strategy.
Hi everyone, this is Anna Ramos of the Food Trust. Since we're talking about policy change and reform, I just wanted to mention that as part of the New Jersey Healthy Corner Store Initiative, the statewide initiative, our partners at the American Heart Association and the New Jersey Partnership for Healthy Kids and the Food Trust all work together with statewide policymakers, and a Healthy Small Food Retailer Act was introduced in the New Jersey State House this summer, and that's Bill A4505 or S3043. So I just wanted to plug that in there. If you're looking for policy change, that's something that we're working on to push. And we'll be publishing the New Jersey Healthy Corner Store Initiative Task Force report that also has recommendations for further policy change and investment in healthy corner store work.
Great.
Thank you.
Were there any other questions?
Well, thank you all for joining. It's not often that you get to finish a webinar early, so you actually have more time to deposit toward your day. Craig, thank you for hosting, and thank you to the Council of New Jersey grant makers for providing the infrastructure for the webinar.
It's our pleasure, and thank you guys for showing us how co-investment and partnerships can really work. Thank you all very much. If you have any further questions, you can either direct them to Sydney or myself, and I can forward them on to the appropriate people. But as Sydney says, thank you very much. I think we are finished.
Hey, Craig.
Excellent. Thanks.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day.
Great, thank you.
Have a great one.
Bye-bye.
Take care.